Hey, welcome back. Today we are going to talk about data, but not how you might think. I'm Keith.
What? My name is Rodney, and this here is the Daily Chronicle, where we chronicle our days, our lives, for our future and past, for our future selves a little bit, but mainly for our daughters,
Yeah,
and trying to build a community. And it is a place where failure is actually an option. We talk
that's
about
right.
failure quite a bit. So we're going to
So,
talk about
so ignore the
over-indexing
mug.
on well,
Ignore
I
the
mean,
mug.
like, it's a good reminder for me that like failure is important, and actually in this organization it is too. Like they fail, but they just do it before the big mission because
That's right.
lives are on the line.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah, they fail a lot. Just yeah.
they do, but this
It's a
has actually caused
NASA
problems.
symbol in case you can't see it. It's a NASA
Oh,
symbol
it's
in
yeah.
case.
This has
Yeah,
been it has caused problems at NASA. Do you remember the O-ring problem with
yeah,
Challenger
yeah,
back in there was
yeah,
some cultural issues that we'll get into later in another podcast.
yeah. But hey, listen,
Um,
data.
Data, yeah,
What's your
over-indexing
thought
on
on
data. So
data?
we talked the other day about over-indexing on feelings, and now we're going to talk about over-indexing on data. Heard a really cool thing the other day that there's a lot of conversation about treating companies like machines, and that is driven largely by GE. So if you look back like 30, 40 years ago, GE, great engineering firm that it's been, that's how they treated everything and people and systems. And they put people in systems and treated them like robots and automatons. And so a lot of the review processes, a lot of the metrics, everything that we had like was born out of that. And so I don't know about you, but I've definitely had this feeling at times in multiple corporations that I was just a number. I was just a thing to be jostled and moved versus taken care of and to take care of other people to make this beautiful company work. But that's my first take on it. What's your first take, sir?
Yeah, I think, data is currency and data is this. And we have reached this point where data helps drive economic output as a point of currency, not just as a form to facilitate it, right? And
Mm,
we love we're in tech, right? So we spend a lot of time talking about data, and I think over time, what it has done, whether you're in a big university and you don't want to be a number, right? Or you work at a big company versus a small company because you want a more intimate environment. We treat people as percentages, as numbers. And I think for me, where I think about data a lot, I think about it in general psychological assessment. 58% of people act this way under these circumstances. So then what we end up doing is we generalize behavior to say, well, more often than not, it is likely that you are going to act in this way, which leaves 42% going, but I don't act like that, right? Like I'm not in that ballpark. And we create this ecosystem where we're working with people based on their general attributions that may not have anything to do with them.
with them.
And it loses our opportunity to connect, and it loses our opportunity to really get to know somebody, right? It's like, well, 90% of all Black Americans are Democrats. Well, there's still 10% that it's like, hey, if we're having a conversation and you're a Republican, like, oh, cool, tell me more about that versus what you are, right?
And
And we create those stereotypes as a result.
it's very damaging to what I would say, and I think most people feel is their greatest asset, which is them, like their individuality and what they bring to the table.
Yeah,
And like at the heart of all this, people need and want to be seen and heard. Like you need that, and this
yeah,
very much damages that. Like when
yes,
Simon Sinek talks about it a lot. When the board decision is we got to cut, whatever percentage of employees in order to maintain profits to look good to
for
the
our
street.
shareholders. Yeah,
What does that do to culture? And I can tell you what it does to culture. I've been in a culture where that happens, and it's ugly. It's ugly. There's no trust. The morale is gone. Like there's not even bad morale. It's just no morale. And
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there's one situation that I'll never forget when, they're just the result of a layoff led to higher performance, right? From a profit perspective, and it was
Yeah.
celebrated in the sales culture, right? And it's like, well, there are people on the other end of that, and we lose sight so much in a data-driven society of the human toll. And for us, I think it really just comes down to, like, people are people. Like, find an opportunity to connect with them, not just the people you know, but understand
Yeah.
that there are people on the other side of that. Data matters for a
Yeah.
lot
Yeah.
of reasons, right? Like, it drives all kinds of positive things. But like, we don't want to over-index on feelings. We try not to over-index on data either. And I think
Well,
for the girls, like,
yeah.
as you get older and you're in a space that data is probably proliferated far more than this, some 20 years from now, don't lose sight of that, because humanity never changes. Like, people are still going to be people 20 years from
Yeah.
now, even if data is going to be different.
Yeah. You sum that up beautifully, my man. I don't know if I would add much to it. It's just, I guess I would say what we said in the feelings conversation. Feelings are data, and it's important, but treat them as data. Data is data, but treat it as data. Like, it shouldn't be over prioritized because it's not a feeling, or because it's
Right.
less personal, or like, it's important for making a
Yeah.
decision, but it's one criteria. It
Right.
should be, I in my estimation, it should be one criteria, not
Yeah.
the criteria.
Yeah.
Um,
Amen. Believe it.
so,
I love that.
yo,
Hey.
that's it for this one. Y'all have a just fantastic day. Stay safe out there. Be
Yeah.
good.